count on. LEX18 News.
I've seen some pretty crazy stuff over here. It's crazy. It's a bad neighborhood.
Heavy hearts across the Commonwealth tonight.
There really aren't any words to have a fellow colleague and somebody that you know and work with in a small community suffering these kind of injuries.
A Richmond police officer was shot in the line of duty.
It's felt by all agencies across the state, and I would imagine across the nation right now.
LEX18's big story team coverage starts now.
LEX18 News at 6 starts now.
A vigil is underway right now, and here's a live look at the Richmond Police Department, where Officer Ellis has served for 7 years. Good evening, I'm Kevin Christopher.
And I'm Nancy Cox. Thanks for joining us at 6. 3 people have been arrested in connection to this morning's police officer shooting. We're told police were investigating a robbery when Officer Daniel Ellis was shot and critically injured.
The shooting happened around 10:30 this morning at an apartment complex on Ballard Drive near Turpin Drive. We have several LEX18 News crews covering this story. Brianna Gilroy is live from the scene of the shooting to begin the big story at 6.
It has been a hard and heartbreaking day for the law enforcement community. Troopers are still here on the scene investigating what led to Officer Daniel Ellis being shot this morning. 3 people have been charged in connection to this shooting. 25-year-old Gregory Ratliff is facing a charge of complicity to commit murder of a police officer. Rita Creech is charged with robbery, and the alleged shooter, Raleigh Sizemore, was just driven to the Madison County Detention Center by state police. He is charged with attempted murder of a police officer and unlawful imprisonment. According to an arrest citation, Officer Ellis arrived at Ratliff's home this morning while investigating an attempted robbery. Sizemore apparently told Ratliff not to let the officer in or he would shoot. But the citation states Ratliff let the officers in anyways and even lied, saying he was the only one home and there weren't any weapons. The paperwork goes on to read that Sizemore was hiding in the bathroom and shot Ellis when the officer tried to push the door open. Ellis was rushed to UK Hospital where he remains in critical condition. Troopers tell me this situation is heartbreaking.
You know, law enforcement here in our community, our law enforcement, we seem to be a brotherhood. And so what's happened today is obviously very tragic, and our hearts go out to Richmond Police Department and the officer that was involved.
And there was a second officer on the scene here with Ellis. We're told that officer was not injured. Again, we're told Ellis's injuries are severe. He is currently at UK Hospital with his family, and that's where we find LEX18's Angie Bevan, who continues our big story team coverage.
Well, Officer Daniel Ellis is battling life-threatening injuries here at UK Hospital. All day here, there have been flocks of fellow law enforcement here to offer support to the Richmond Police Department and also Officer Ellis's family. And the support started early on today. A Madison County ambulance making its way to Lexington was escorted by Richmond Police first. Then, as it made its way on into Lexington police cruisers picked it up. They wanted to make sure that paramedics and Ellis arrived as quickly and safely as possible to UK Hospital. And here's a look at the various cruisers that we told you about, all the different law enforcement agencies here at the UK Emergency Room, the Fayette Sheriff's Office, Lexington Police, UK Police, and State Police, all here to show their support. Now, troopers we talked to here at the hospital told us just how important that outpouring of support is.
Being in law enforcement is like being in a family. We all care about each other, about our well-being, and about the families of this officer and the other officers, because this affects us all.
And one of the suspects in that shooting, Raleigh Sizemore, was brought here to UK Hospital earlier in the day. He was treated for gunshot wounds as well. However, as we mentioned earlier, he has been released from the hospital and he is now in state police custody. We're covering the news live in Lexington from the LEX18 mobile newsroom. Back to you.
Well, investigators say the shooting came just hours after a woman was mugged at a Madison County gas station.
A teacher at St. Mark's says she was robbed outside the Marathon Gulf gas station on Main Street around 7 this morning. Richard Essex picks it up from there as we continue with our big story team coverage.
Beth Gannon is not the kind of woman to give up without a fight. This morning, she was robbed at gunpoint and she fought him off, and she kept her purse. Surveillance video taken from the gas station captured the suspect's minivan pulling alongside the gas station. You can see the rear door of the van open just a little bit at about the same time Beth Gannon is coming out to her car. Gannon and the van move out of the camera view. Just as she is opening her car door, one of the suspects jumps on top of her with a gun pointed right at her.
He had it in my face as he was saying, "Give me your purse." It was in my face, and that was all I could see. It was that gun in my face.
Gannon was able to fight him off, and she even went to work for a couple of hours this morning. The suspects and their van were found just a couple of blocks away from her. The shooting has left a lot of the neighbors in that area pretty shaken up. My colleague, Claire Crouch, has their reaction.
Neighbors sticking close to their loved ones after a shocking morning. The news of an officer shot has rattled the nerves of everyone in the area. Neighbors say police had been in the area all morning. Many I spoke with say sadly they've become accustomed to crime in their neighborhood. Just Sunday, a man was shot and killed just feet away from this crime. A fact of life that has some in the area thinking of moving somewhere else.
Yeah, a little bit unsecure, because you know that happened back there could happen up here anywhere. And Ballard got a reputation for that kind of thing going on.
It's crazy. Like, we were in the back bedroom and we could have been shot, you know, because they were like right by my window. So, yeah, it's a pretty bad neighborhood.
Of course, we continue to track the latest breaking developments on the situation, and we'll bring them to you later today on LEX18 News and on LEX18.com. We're covering the news in Madison County from the LEX18 mobile newsroom. Back to you.
And again, our thoughts and prayers are with the officer and his family tonight. And as Claire mentioned, we'll continue to follow this story very closely. Join us for more on Evening Edition at 7, and again, for minute-by-minute updates on LEX18.com. In other news, we have new information from court documents regarding a story we told you about last night at 11.
A rifle officers found in some bushes after a chase last night had been reported stolen by the police department. LEX18's Kristen Flom has the new developments.
For a little over a week, tension from people in 2 counties on edge after 4 guns and ammo were stolen out of a Lexington SWAT officer's unmarked SUV parked in front of his Nicholasville home. Detectives have been working tirelessly to get the firearms off the street, and last night may have caught a big break. Around 9 o'clock, Lexington police were sent to check out the report of a suspicious man with a gun. An officer later spotted someone matching that description near the Wyatt apartment complex on Angliana. According to court documents, for 19-year-old Quavon Winslow, police tried to stop and talk to him, but he took off, tossing a long gun into some bushes. When police found it, according to his citation, it had been reported as stolen. A spokesperson for the department wouldn't confirm whether it was stolen from the officer's Nicholasville home, but Winslow did list Nicholasville address on his court paperwork. He was charged with receiving stolen property, fleeing and evading, and trafficking marijuana. Covering the news in Lexington, Kristen Flum, LEX18 News.
Winslow declined to talk to us from jail this morning. His bond is set at $35,000.
It was another amazingly warm day today. In fact, it was record warm. We will talk about that coming up. But what's also pretty incredible is that we're going to have night during the day, or day during the night. That'd actually be a better way. Day during the night. Because we're going to put daytime warmth as our low temperature for tonight. And tomorrow night, for that matter. That's what's exceedingly unusual. Max Track Live out there here at 6:08, and that's quiet. Now, our future track, 7 a.m., we wanted to really more show you the clouds than anything else. I think it's overdoing the drizzle potential a little bit. I don't think we'll see much in the way of sprinkles around tomorrow. It showed something similar for today, and obviously we didn't really see that develop today either. So, again, the clouds are around. We'll see them try and thin some, I think, tomorrow afternoon, at least for a little while. And with that, again, another very warm day is in store. And we're still in the 70s in most places. 71 right now in Lexington and London, 70 Richmond and Somerset. Frankfurt's dropped off to 69. We'll be in the mid-60s at 11 and partly cloudy. The weather's got to turn, and we'll talk about when that happens in a couple of minutes.
Thank you, Bill.
The richest man in the world has been spotted in Kentucky.
Bill Gates has been in the eastern part of the state all week. Our crew caught up with him as he was leaving a Floyd County high school. The reason for his visit ahead.
You're watching LEX18 News at 6.
For the first time in 8 years, Kentucky has elected a new governor.
Republican Matt Bevin was elected governor with 53% of the vote yesterday. Democrat Jack Conway with 44% of the vote. Matt Bevin is an investment manager from Louisville. He's the state's first governor from Louisville in a century and the third Republican governor since 1967. Current Governor Steve Beshear congratulated Matt Bevin on his win. He sent a statement reading in part, quote, "I called Matt Bevin this morning and congratulated him on being Kentucky's next governor. I promised an orderly transition as I hand off the reins of state government to him," end quote. Governor-elect Bevin and his running mate, Janine Hampton, will begin their term in office on December 8th. The richest man in the world, and quite possibly one of the most well-known, has been in eastern Kentucky all week.
Yeah, we think he's visiting schools in Pike and Floyd counties to talk about grants made through the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Kelsey Borza was there today as the multi-billionaire left one of those schools.
Hi. He left with a wave,
I love you,
and a smile.
Yeah, great to be here.
Even greeting two Pike County high schoolers who stood outside today to catch a glimpse of the world's wealthiest man.
That was awesome. I skipped school to come see him. Worth it.
Josh McCarty and Zach Cheney tell me as soon as they heard Bill Gates was in town, it was the only thing they could think about.
We heard that he was going to be here, so we drove all around town trying to find him.
After hours of searching, they finally caught wind he was visiting Betsy Lane High School and drove an hour just to get here.
He came out and he waved at us, and when he got in the vehicle, he rolled down the window and his wife jumped over and said, "Awesome school." It was great.
Just to see him wave at me was probably the best thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Now, we're told Gates has been in Pike and Floyd counties for about the past couple of days now, so naturally he's going to be seen out and about a few places. We know of 2 restaurants that he's eaten at in just the past couple days. Once at the Blue Raven in Pikeville for a Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation event, and another time at Texas Roadhouse, spreading that billionaire spirit wherever he goes.
He's one of my heroes.
Bill Gates. He's such a cool dude.
Covering the news in Floyd County, Kelsey Borza, LEX18 News.
Oh, that was great.
The Bill Gates Foundation aims to expand educational opportunities and access to information technology all over the United States.
Your LEX18 Storm Tracker forecast is coming up just after the break. And now we give you another live look at the very touching prayer service underway in Richmond for critically injured police officer Daniel Ellis.
Another fantastic day today. Boy, it is just an amazing stretch of weather. Not all that unusual to have a string of 70-degree days in November. It happens every few years, although we went through about a 30-year stretch from the early 2000s back to the 1970s without them. But when you look back through the rest of our weather history, it happens about every 4 or 5 years. That being said, we've got another stretch on the way for tomorrow. We're talking our 4th day of 70+. So again, and today was record territory. We'll be warm again tomorrow. Max Track Live Doppler does remain clear. Next 18 go this way, partly cloudy, 65 at 11 o'clock. I mean, that's warm. We'll be in the upper 50s right around 68 a.m. That's close to our normal high. Upper 60s, partly sunny at lunchtime tomorrow. So what we're tracking tonight, again, night becomes day with warmth more reminiscent of a daytime high for our overnight low. Friday, we will be tracking storms ahead of a cold front. A couple of those could be strong. A weekend, that cold front takes us back to normal. And how about a November muggy meter? Don't pull it out often. You are looking at these numbers when they're in the low 60s. The air is starting to really moisten up, and you wouldn't go so far as to call it muggy, but you would certainly call it humid. So that does July proud at times. Temperature-wise, we're in the 70s. It is warm, although Frankfort's at 69, so is Monticello. But Somerset 70, Jackson 74. The 70 in Richmond and Danville and Flemingsburg, 71 in Lexington. We're showing a high of 76. That was based off the hourly data. When the climate report comes in at 7:30, it's going to show 78. That ties a record from 1977. Another look with our Kentucky One Health Weather Bug camera. I'm just loving this picture from St. Joseph East. So we'll show it to you when we've got nice sunsets and again the sun all the way down. Last of the twilight you're seeing out there at this point. Clouds today more plentiful than yesterday. Those clouds are really not moisture laden in the fact that they're not producing rain. As we look to high pressure sitting to the north, rain making clouds a little further to south. There's moisture under the high. It becomes trapped, and so I think we will even build on the cloud cover tomorrow. There's just nothing to mix it out, and so it just kind of hangs around this time of the year with the sun being fairly weak. Snow-making storm going up through the Midwest. Bigger one comes out next week. Storms, they will be more plentiful tomorrow late on the other side of the Mississippi. Dying line of thunderstorms should be coming in here Friday, although rain and some thunder certainly are likely for us as that front passes Friday. The air behind it, moderately cool. It actually gets a little chilly behind that secondary front, and you'll feel that on Sunday. Bill's Weather 101 today. Wellington Elementary School. Third graders in Lexington on the near south side. One of the new schools, and first trip for Bill's Weather 101 to that school, and it was terrific today. Also visiting us today, Team Kentucky Skywarn Spotters. They are our eyes on the ground when severe weather threatens, and we thank them for their visit today. Warm night, partly cloudy. We're near 60. Oop, that should be high of 74. Changed the wrong one on that. 74 your high tomorrow. Low 70s on Friday. That's with thunderstorms around. Saturday, rain ends early in the southeast. It improves as the day goes on. And seasonably cool for us on Sunday in the mid-50s.
Pretty nice for this time of year.
It is really good.
Thank you, Bill.
The UK football team talks about trying to have some fun while going through this horrible 3-game losing streak.
And as UK basketball gets ready for its final exhibition game, there's news that one of the top players in the class of 2016 is ready to announce his choice. Details in LEX18 Sports next.
Depending on which recruiting service you're looking at, Harry Giles is one of the top 2 players in the class of 2016, and he's ready to make his announcement. The 6'10 forward has moved his date up to November 12th, and he will not make the announcement in his hometown of Winston-Salem. Not good news for Wake Forest. 24/7 Sports' Crystal Ball has Giles picking Duke. Coach Cal is just worried about the current Cats, and they have one more dress rehearsal before the real season begins, hosting Kentucky State Friday at 6. Jamal Murray was 1 assist away from a triple-double, and he had fun.
It was fun, to have the kind of atmosphere we did, playing our first college game. It was a different experience, and it was blessed to be in position.
Were you nervous?
No, I've played in stages like this before.
No big deal.
It's not a big deal, but I had fun.
Alex Poitras was going to be on one of 3 regional Sports Illustrated covers this week, but the Kansas City Royals won the World Series, and that bumped Poitras to online only. Georgia coach Mark Richt has told his team not to listen to the noise. There are Georgia fans who aren't happy with Richt, and he doesn't want his team, who has lost 3 of 4, to let this get to them. Then you have 2 Georgia players who don't start that were busted on marijuana charges and are suspended for the Kentucky game. Alan Cutler takes the UK angle as the Cats are also struggling.
When you say Georgia and Kentucky, you're saying 2 teams that are facing a lot of pressure. For Georgia, they have scored 9 points totally over the last 2 games. They lose to Kentucky. Coach Richt, who's been there forever and has won a ton of games, his job will be on the line. For Kentucky, if they don't win, getting to a bowl game will be difficult. Doable, but difficult. Unless it's a quick blowout, you face adversity in every game. Winning teams handle adversity better. Months ago, Stoops told LEX18 that his program was passed not believing they could win.
When we get hit with adversity, we got to figure out how to strike back.
At Kentucky, there's pressure to get to a bowl game. If the pressure takes away the joy of playing football, you are in trouble.
We just got to get back to the enjoyment of it, just to have this fun of it. And I think we're worrying about too much of the record and everything.
And you see a couple plays, we could have stopped them. Just a couple missed tackles. And I can't say it was misassignment because we was there. We just missing tackles. So, we just got to finish the play.
Stoops says when he looks at the tape of the last game, his team was playing hard enough, but he's going to call out some guys that he doesn't want to tell us who weren't playing hard enough on special teams. This team still needs to play harder. It's that simple. Alan Cutler, LEX18 Sports.
Thank you, Alan. Former UK baseball player A.J. Reed had a successful Arizona League, and it's earned him a spot in the All-Star game for the East Division. In 11 games, Reed hit .231 with 3 doubles, a home run, and 6 runs batted in. You'll want to tune in to LEX18 News tonight. Dorian Kraft takes a look at Montgomery County football player Mason Gooch, a standout player that cannot hear on the field on Friday nights. It's called Silent Success. LEX18 News. We'll be right back.
Incredibly warm temperatures continue. Your day will start tomorrow right around 60. It finishes again in the 70s.
Thanks for watching. NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt is next.
Count on LEX18.com for the latest news, sports, and your Storm Tracker forecast.